Have you ever heard the story of the boy who refused to accept gravity? It starts with a quiet, introverted teenager leaving South Africa with nothing but a backpack, a book of physics, and a radical belief that the future doesn't just happen, it has to be built by someone brave enough to risk everything. That boy's name was Elon Musk, born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. Elon's early life was a study in contrasts. He was born into a household that was financially stable but emotionally fractured. His mother, May Musk, was a Canadian-born dietitian and model, a woman defined by discipline, independence, and a fierce intellectual curiosity. On the other hand, his father, Elon Musk, was a talented engineer, technically brilliant but emotionally distant and difficult. This environment, rich in intellect but poor in warmth, forged Elon's deep-seated independence and resilience from a very young age. He wasn't alone in this journey. He shared his childhood with his younger brother, Kimball, who would go on to become a successful entrepreneur and restaurateur, and his younger sister, Tosca, now a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. Though they each carved out their own unique paths, it's clear that a powerful creative and entrepreneurial fire burns in the Musk family DNA. As a child, Elon was not the charismatic leader you might picture today. He was socially withdrawn, intensely curious, and often the target of bullies. He found his sanctuary not on the playground, but in the pages of books. He was an obsessive reader, sometimes devouring books for up to 10 hours a day. For young Elon, books were both an escape and his greatest teacher. He lost himself in the worlds of science fiction, the laws of physics, and the principles of engineering, planting the seeds for the empires he would one day build. His formal education began in South Africa, but his ambition was always aimed at North America. At 17, driven by a desire to escape the mandatory military service in apartheid-era South Africa and to be at the heart of technological innovation, he moved to Canada. He started at Queen's University before transferring to the prestigious University of Pennsylvania in the United States. There, he didn't just pick one path. He pursued two, earning bachelor's degrees in both physics and economics, dual-pronged foundation that would perfectly serve his future ventures. His academic journey almost continued. He was accepted into a PhD program in applied physics at Stanford University, the pinnacle of academic achievement. But the pull of the burgeoning internet boom was too strong. After just 2 days, he dropped out. The classroom couldn't contain his ambition. He had to be on the front lines, building the future he had read about for so long. This was no easy transition. His early years in North America were a constant struggle. He worked odd jobs to get by, from cleaning out a boiler room to working on a farm. He lived frugally, famously surviving on just $1 a day for a period. Even as he was building his first companies, luxury was a distant concept. He slept on office floors, showering at the local YMCA, pouring every ounce of his energy and every penny he had into his visions. His first major success came with Zip2, a company that provided online city guides to newspapers. He and his brother Kimball started it with a small loan from their father. In 1999, they sold it for nearly $300 million. Elon's share made him a multimillionaire before he was 30, but he didn't stop. He immediately rolled his winnings into his next venture, co-founding XCOM, an online financial services company that would eventually merge with another company to become PayPal. When eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion, Elon's take was over $180 million. For most people, this will be the end of the story, a lifetime of financial security secured. For Elon, it was just the beginning. It was the funding he needed to tackle the really big problems. With his newfound fortune, he founded SpaceX in 2002. The goal wasn't just to build rockets. It was to revolutionize spaceflight and make humanity a multiplanetary species. The aerospace industry laughed at him. They said it was impossible for a private company to do what only governments had done. They called him a naive dreamer. He proved them all wrong. Next, he turned his attention to the automotive world. His vision wasn't just to sell a few niche electric cars to the wealthy. It was to mainstream electric vehicles, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Again, the industry giants scoffed. They said consumers would never give up gasoline. They said the technology wasn't ready. Today, Tesla is the world's most valuable automaker, and every major car company is racing to catch up, and he still isn't done. With Neuralink, he's exploring the frontier of brain-computer interfaces, aiming to solve neurological diseases and eventually merge human consciousness with artificial intelligence. With XAI, he's diving headfirst into the race to build safe and beneficial artificial general intelligence. And with ventures like The Boring Company, he's even trying to solve traffic. His work ethic is legendary, almost mythical. He regularly works 80 to 120 hours a week. He survives on 6 hours of sleep or less. His problem-solving method is rooted in what he calls first principles thinking, breaking a problem down to its most fundamental truths and reasoning up from there, rather than relying on analogy or past conventions. He famously prefers reading dense technical documents over management summaries and loves engaging directly with his engineers, challenging them to defend their designs. He has no patience for bureaucracy, slow decision-making, or excuses. So what drives a man like this? With a net worth that fluctuates between $350 and $430 billion, is clearly not about the money. Money is just a tool, a resource to fuel his true obsession. Elon Musk is driven by a profound, almost existential purpose. He believes that humanity is at a critical juncture and faces existential risks, from climate change to self-inflicted catastrophes. His simple yet extreme conclusion is this: if humanity is to survive in the long term, we must become a multiplanetary species. Colonizing Mars isn't a cool sci-fi fantasy for him. It's a backup drive for human consciousness. When you look past the headlines, the controversies, and the staggering wealth, you find the core of Elon Musk's story. It's not a tale about getting rich. It's a story about refusing to accept limits. Where others see insurmountable risk, he sees an absolute necessity. Where others fear failure, he simply sees a new data point on the path to success. This isn't just ambition. It's a compulsion. It's the relentless drive of that young boy from Pretoria who looked at the world, looked at the stars, and decided that gravity was just a suggestion. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the minds that are shaping our future. See you next time.